The rift between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the British public has now reached a boiling point, one no longer simmering quietly beneath the surface but exploding into full public view. What began as a gradual erosion of goodwill has escalated into a roaring storm of outrage and indignation. The catalyst: a massive wave of petitions demanding that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex be stripped of their royal titles, and the Chief of the House of Lords has officially acknowledged receipt of these calls for action. The petitions, carrying hundreds of thousands of signatures, have reached Parliament's upper chamber like thunder rolling through Westminster. These aren't idle requests from fringe critics. They are roaring declarations from everyday citizens who feel betrayed, insulted, and utterly disillusioned by the actions of Harry and Meghan. The symbolic weight of such a demand cannot be overstated. At the heart of it lies a deeply emotional wound in the national psyche: the belief that the Sussexes have turned their backs on the crown while continuing to exploit its prestige. The most recent trigger in this unfolding drama came during a BBC interview where Prince Harry once again aired personal grievances against his family. The timing was far from ideal. It coincided with his failed legal attempt to gain taxpayer-funded security while in the UK. To many, it was the final insult. Asking for public funding while simultaneously profiting off private deals that criticized the monarchy was seen not just as hypocritical but brazen. Public sentiment turned swiftly and fiercely. Social media platforms, newspaper columns, and radio talk shows were inundated with furious calls for accountability. Then came the polls, some showing as much as 97% of respondents believing King Charles should strip his son of the Sussex title. Such overwhelming consensus is rare in British public opinion and represents a monumental collapse in support for the once beloved prince and his American wife. Adding kerosene to the blaze was the revelation that Meghan Markle has continued to refer to herself in private correspondence as Her Royal Highness, despite the couple's agreement with Queen Elizabeth II in 2020 to relinquish the use of such styles. To the public, this wasn't a harmless oversight. It was seen as calculated, an attempt to benefit from royal prestige while avoiding royal responsibility. While sources close to Meghan insisted it was a personal choice and not an official breach, for many Britons, it felt like a slap in the face to the monarchy and to the late Queen, who had handled the initial exit of the couple with dignified restraint. The hypocrisy, they argue, is staggering. The Sussexes have embarked on multiple high-profile commercial ventures: a Netflix documentary, a Spotify deal, Harry's incendiary memoir Spare, and their infamous Oprah interview, all of which have painted the royal family in a negative light. Critics claim these endeavors not only trade shamelessly on royal status, but simultaneously undermine the very institution they profit from. Even wise, these ventures have often been strategically timed to coincide with moments of national reflection or royal family difficulties. Whether it was the Queen's failing health or King Charles's early months on the throne, each media release seemed perfectly timed to overshadow or tarnish a royal milestone. It is this cold calculation that many in the public find so galling, particularly when they recall the grace and dignity with which Queen Elizabeth II reigned. The Chief of the House of Lords has now found himself in the center of a constitutional tempest. By accepting the petitions, he has acknowledged the seriousness of the public's demand. While stripping titles is not a matter taken lightly, indeed, it hasn't occurred on this level since wartime sanctions in the early 20th century, the volume and passion of the public outcry make it difficult to ignore. Parliament, though typically reluctant to meddle in royal affairs, is now being forced to consider whether this symbolic action must be taken to preserve public trust in the monarchy. For King Charles, the pressure is mounting by the day. His reign has already been tested by health issues, modernization efforts, and the balancing act of maintaining relevance while upholding tradition. Now, he faces a deeply personal crisis with national implications. The demand to act is no longer coming just from within palace walls or traditionalist corners of society. It is coming from the streets, the newspapers, the Parliament, and it's getting louder. Yet, Buckingham Palace remains tight-lipped. There have been no statements, no clarifications, no reassurances to the public. This silence, rather than calming the waters, has only added to the sense of betrayal and abandonment. Every day without resolution is seen by many as another day in which the crown turns a blind eye to what they believe is an open mockery of royal titles and tradition. This is no longer just about personal grievances. It has become a matter of national identity. The monarchy, a centuries-old institution built on service, sacrifice, and symbolism, cannot afford to appear weak or permissive in the face of what many see as a betrayal of all three. And so, the question becomes, will King Charles act? There is precedent, though rarely invoked. Titles have been revoked before, when betrayal of the nation demanded it. And while Harry and Meghan have not committed any crimes, the perception of betrayal is deeply rooted in the public psyche. They left for a new life, declared their independence, and now seem unwilling to let go of the very titles that tether them to a system they claim to reject. The irony is bitter and unmistakable. They speak of privacy yet live in the spotlight. They decry the monarchy yet capitalize on its legacy. They demand protection yet wage war in the court of public opinion. And now, the very titles they once carried with pride may be the final bridge burned. For many Britons, revoking the Sussex title is about more than punishing two individuals. It's about restoring honor to an institution they cherish. It's about drawing a line and making a stand. If the monarchy is to survive another generation, they argue, it must demand loyalty in return for privilege. Without accountability, there can be no respect. Without respect, there can be no monarchy. The fate of the Sussex title now hangs in the balance, a potent symbol of everything this royal schism has come to represent. As Parliament debates and the king weighs his options, the eyes of a nation remain fixed on the throne, waiting for a verdict that could shape not just the future of Harry and Meghan, but the very future of the British